Alright, let's see if chat's coming through. Okay. Excellent. And let me move it over. Let me at least move the counter over here. And move this down just a wee bit into the side, just in case we break into the thousands. And then one last thing with chat box. Move it over here. There we go. All right. I think we should be good to go. Seems like audio from the game is coming through okay. Chat seems to be going well, and I've already tested the counter. So, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's stream, where we'll be continuing on YouTube to see if we can try to breed us a pink little dragon. Last time we left off, we got to around 347 eggs, and I noticed you said, Lewis, the counter's at 348 right now. But that's only because I tested a new live counter or automatic counter, so that way I don't have to keep ticking up the counter myself and keep track of the whole thing. So now you all know exactly where we're at with regards to the actual hunt. And this, thankfully, can work with almost pretty much any Pokemon at all that we're trying to either shiny hunt or Masuda method or whatever it is that we're doing with it. It's actually very helpful. So we're going to test this out, see how that goes, while at the same time breeding a bunch of eggs as per last time, and basically see like, hey, if we get any luck to see if we can get ourselves a shiny, then we'll see what we can do. All right, enough dawdling. Let's just go ahead and jump right into this. Yeah, well, let's see. Does the notification go off? Yes, it does. All right. There we go. Seems to. Hey there, Ash. What's up, man? How you doing, buddy? Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. I almost put the music on. Ah. POV, me trying to actually learn how to ride a bike, just swerving all over the place, potentially crashing into a wall. Not much. It's been a long time since I've seen any of your streams. No worries, man. To be fair, I haven't exactly been streaming a whole lot recently. I mean, it's only within this past week or so that I've actually been able to stream somewhat frequently. And really, I'm just kind of taking a bit of a break from my regularly scheduled stuff, mostly like the Zelda Marathon and the Nuzlocke, and just to kind of test out YouTube to see how it is. And I thought, you know what? Why don't I actually break YouTube in and see how it works out, see if I like the platform and using it. Oh, there we go. Let's see if the counter actually works. Let's see. I'm not touching anything. Let me see if this works. Hey, it does work. Perfect. All right, it works like a charm. But yeah, mostly just kind of taking a break and mainly just trying to have just a chill time doing it. As for me, I'm doing all right. Mostly just, like I said, just been kind of busy on my own end. I've got my next scheduled planned trip for work, getting that all underway, and yeah, so I'm gonna be busy over the next week or so, and I should be back by the end of next week, I think, around maybe Friday or Saturday. So maybe I'll be able to do something then. But everything's been going pretty well. Whoa, wait a minute. I don't. Oh, whoops! I think that went on for too long. Okay, yeah, my bad. I can relate with busy. I imagine so. Let's take that down a little bit. What about you, Matt? What have you been up to on your end that's kept you busy? By the way, how's everything coming through audio-wise for you? Is the microphone coming through fine? Is my audio is everything coming through pretty balanced? If not, please let me know if there's any issues that need to be resolved. Oh, we got another one. Alright, we got ourselves another Dratini. Honestly, this is so much easier than having to uptick the counter myself. School and such, and the audio sounds great. Yay! Beep beep. Holy crap, a wild Ornis has appeared in the chat. How you doing, Ornis? As you can see, we are continuing our little shiny hunting excursion. There we go. Alright, so I think that should be enough. Alright. Grab all of these. How are you doing, Ornis? You feeling alright? And hello to you too, Ornis. Ash, out of curiosity, what kind of schoolwork are you doing right now? Like, is it? I'm guessing it's. Well, I guess fall term just started up, so I'm wondering, like, what kind of stuff are you dealing with this term? By the way, I hope you guys like the new counter I've put in the bottom left-hand corner. I just figured it'd be a lot easier than having to manually uptick a counter myself and then try to mentally keep track of all of it. Let's say pretty tired as per usual, but I'm looking forward to October. I bet. A lot of people, I know a lot of my neighbors already have their Halloween decorations set up and everything. Me, I just have a simple wreath on the front door and a fake pumpkin out. I'm not going through. I really don't feel like going through the effort of getting a fresh pumpkin and gutting it and then having that outside my house. Because to me, it's just like it just wouldn't feel really worth it. Nope, don't need to give Dratini a name. We're not really focused on giving any of these Dratinis names. So far, let's see. Let's see. So far, I'm studying geology. I'm studying geometry, doing some science, and lots of reading. Is there any particular reading that you're doing, or any particular piece of literature that you're looking into? And what kind of sciences are you looking into? Is it like biology, chemistry, or what? Not really. Okay. Oh, so you're taking chemistry classes. Okay. I don't really remember having a chemistry class when I was in high school. I mean, chemistry was always a part of the curriculum, but there was nothing like it was a dedicated chemistry class. The most I remember, granted, this is one story I remember from high school when I had a chemistry class. It wasn't one that involved me personally, it was one I always heard from a secondhand source. But it was where I noticed, or when I had heard one of the people in my year had basically caused volatile reactions so hard in the classroom that it caused part of the desk to explode. Thankfully, the student was fine, but it left a sizable mark on the desk itself and caused a fair bit of damage. The only reason I know about this is because I heard it from my other classmates that were in some of my other classmates that were in the room adjacent to us, and after which, well, not afterwards. Sorry, during the whole mess, I even heard the explosion from my other classroom. I think it's gone up a little bit too high. I think that's only been, yeah. Okay, so no, we actually had 360 eggs. Let's see, Paris J. Hey, Josh, how's it going, man? It's been a long time since I've seen you. Not sure if you remember, but I hope you're doing great, man. It's been a while since the PlayStation Home days. Dude, I remember those days. Yes, I frankly miss them. No, I definitely do remember the PlayStation Home days. I remember when I had that like goofy ass looking avatar with the giant Darksiders wings and all that stuff trying to look angelic and crap, and while wearing freaking denim jeans. I don't know what it was. I don't know what was up with me with that look. But yes, I definitely do remember you, JJ. God, it's been so long. But I honestly hope you're doing all right, man. It's been like, God, how long has it been since I've actually heard from you? Like what, a couple of years at this point? I mean, as you can kind of see here, I'm doing all right. I'm just yucking around shiny hunting and trying to breed a shiny Dratini, just messing around. Nothing really high stakes or that intense or whatnot. I'm mostly just derping around. I more or less have spent the last 2 years being relegated to Twitch and trying to build myself up on there, but mostly Twitch has kind of been falling by the wayside a little bit, and I just figured the last week or so, like, you know what, let's try out YouTube, see how that works, see how that plays. But yeah, so we need to catch up. We haven't talked in a couple years for sure. I mean, sure, if you want to catch up and talk, I'm usually on instead of being on like PlayStation all the time now, or even any one particular platform. I'm mostly on Discord and just kind of chatting up there every day. Well, I say every day under the context of if I'm not too busy, I am there every day. I apologize if I'm yawning so much. I've had a long day. Mostly just getting stuff ready for my job and my next work trip, because I'm going to be flying out Sunday, late Sunday night, have an early start Monday morning. Yeah, most of it have an early start Monday morning, and then I'm going to have to drive and make it like a 2 to 3 day journey from Texas to Virginia. And that is, I mean, it's not that bad compared to some of the other trips I've had to do over this past year, but it's one where it's going to take a fair bit of time. Thankfully, I've got enough of a window to where I can get the vehicle needed for the client. But yeah, Ash is right. I pretty much spend most of the time chatting on Discord. If you want to catch up, I'm more than happy to do so. It's been a long while. Aren't you a sports announcer? No, I do work in sports broadcasting, but I work behind the scenes. I'm the one who works with the TV camera crews and gets the equipment to different events so that way they can do the broadcast themselves. We usually hire local people to do the sportscasting for us. I'm just there to make sure the equipment gets there fine and make sure that the game is running smoothly. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. Yeah. It's just generally cheap because here's the thing: not everybody who works in sport broadcasting because there's a lot more that goes into the production of that sort of thing. You have to have someone who is sort of the head of audio. You have to have another person who's the director. You have to have someone who's kind of overseeing the entire production. You have to be constantly relaying to the studio back in whatever location that you're at. You have to have his own group of people from his studio and talk with them all the time. You have to have several people manning the cameras. You have to have a lot of different materials to get a game up and running and make sure that it's done consistently and done well. There's a lot of moving parts, and I'm essentially one moving part. Same one escort quite often as well, so we can definitely talk there. And that's crazy, man. Awesome for you, and that you're doing well. Have a good job. Yeah, I'm overall not complaining. Yeah, that's really complicated. It's honestly not that bad, Ash, because, like I said, my job is to make sure that everyone else is able to do their job. So let me try to paint you a picture of exactly like what the day-to-day job of mine is like on a given day. So usually my day, let's say if I'm even if I'm just traveling to a gig and trying to go from one state to another, I will literally start up at around, say, 7 or 8 in the morning, get up from my hotel. I sometimes won't even grab breakfast, but instead, I will basically just get in my truck, and then, depending on where I'm at in the relation to the city, I'll head to the gas station that's on the very edge of the city. Whether it's east, west, north, or south, doesn't matter. And I usually stop it around, say, either a Love's gas station or a Pilot or anything I can really get my hands on. Shell, BP, or whatnot is usually... There are some that I just don't generally touch just because of how awkward they can be. And so, when I get those to a gas station, I fill up the truck, and then I'll drive for several hours. So, generally, I usually clock in around, let's say, 9 to 10 hours a day when it comes to my job, when it comes to traveling. So, I'll start out at around 8 or 9 in the morning. Yeah, so 7 to 8 in the morning, travel around, stop for lunch around noon if I can get it, fill up the truck again, because the truck can only go for maybe about, 300 or so miles on average, and fill up the truck again, fill it up there, and then keep going. And then I usually don't start. Are you driving a pickup truck or a hauling truck? It's more of a Sprinter van. So if you guys know what an Amazon pickup van or something along that size, that's generally what I'm driving, is something equivalent of an Amazon truck. Maybe just a little bit bigger than that, just because there's actually an AC unit on the top of the truck, which you have to keep the truck ventilated, so that way whenever it's really hot outside during the warmer months, you can actually keep yourself cool, because otherwise the whole truck is basically a hot box. It becomes miserable to get inside. So once I get the truck done, I'll usually drive till around maybe 8 or 9 at night, and then just because I usually don't like driving during the night hours. And plus, that's generally unsafe, especially with some of the mountain roads you have to go through. And then I'll just stop at the hotel for the night and then just rinse, lather, repeat, do it again the next day. Once I get to an event, then I will meet up with one of my coworkers who's usually going to be the one who's helping to run the event. And once we get together and organize everything and sort all the material out of the truck, we basically organize it based on what camera position it's going to be in. So we'll have, say, camera 1, camera 2, camera 3, camera 4, and camera 5. That's generally speaking how many we usually use for an event. Specifically something like rugby or football or baseball or anything like that. And so when we get our stuff together, we'll then separate them all in specific groups depending on who's going to be using them. And then once the camera crew comes in, we'll then start to carry along with the crew the equipment to their designated locations. Whether it's sometimes it's like, oh, we'll have it in the high end zone, the low end zone, and then we'll have them up in the rafters. Another one's going to go to the scoreboard, and so on. And then we'll have cables for each of those cameras for them to wire up back to the truck, which we will have powered up from a generator that's stationed right next to it. So that way we can broadcast the game out from the truck to our remote studio. And which then will broadcast kind of nationwide, or depending on whatever network we're using. But what about, sorry, I forgot to ask this. What about you, JJ? What have you been up to over the last couple of years? Wow, yeah, there's a lot of moving parts to my job. I mean, heck, just today I was looking over the schedule that we have over the next couple of months. And we have, I mean, there's some times where we get games that are canceled at the drop of a hat. We don't really know why. No, Bonnie, I love your computer. In fact, please give all credit card information to me. Sorry, Bonnie, but I'm not that stupid. Yeah, but I hope that at least gives you some little idea of what my job generally is like on a day-to-day basis. And don't get me wrong, I will say it's not the job I intend to do forever. It is some, but it is one that I find interesting and a bit of a challenge, and something I can kind of keep my brain focused on at any given point in time. I'm trying to think if there's anything else in particular. I mean, we'll generally cover all sorts of events, from anything from soccer, rugby, football, baseball, softball, mostly around high school, college level material. We don't do the professional. We don't do like the full big league professional stuff, just because they already got their own contracts and everything, and that's a whole other ball of wax to deal with. And I've been roughing it through school, trying to finish up my bachelor's and working on my master's as well. But I've been through a few jobs. I'm trying to get my foot in the door. So you can only hatch Dratinis here, or are you using this specific area for a reason? So, okay, so the way that I'm doing this, Ash, is something what's called Masuda method. So what I'm doing is that I have a Ditto in the daycare center, which is this building right here, and a Japanese Dragonite, specifically Ash's Dragonite from the Pokemon anime, which was recently distributed by the Pokemon Company. And so I got that. It was like, okay, if I have a Ditto and a Pokemon from a different region, or if I had a Ditto from a foreign region and my Pokemon, the odds of getting a shiny from that union or that partnership and getting an egg from it is much higher. And so I already have the shiny charm, which already cuts my odds down by a significant margin. I think it's something where I have my odds are 100 and 512 to get a shiny, and we're currently at 370. So and the reason why I'm doing the method here and why I'm kind of just going back and forth on this bridge is because it's a straight line that I can keep going back and forth and easily just repeat this route over and over again, not have to worry about any Pokemon colliding into me and starting up a random battle. Whereas if I was doing this in the wild area, there are some Pokemon that could just run into my line of, like, my path, essentially, and then start up a random battle, thus kind of ruining the whole momentum that I'm trying to do. And this is something where it's like, okay, it's a simple, repetitive task that I can just do over and over again and not have to worry about anything getting in my way. And so I just figured, just kind of keep doing it. Just essentially go around in a circle. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah, exactly. Let's see, Bonnie, so your favorite firearm. Let's see. I've used a fair bit of firearms. I would say I've used let's see, rifles, shotguns, pistols, Thompson submachine gun, drum, and barred clip. I had proper supervision. I had to have proper supervision whenever I was using that. So, um, I would say if I had a favorite firearm, I don't know. I don't really have a specific favorite one. I'd say the one that I was trained to use the most was a 22 caliber rifle, which is pretty basic. But I only have nostalgic ones for me because I was trained by my grandfather when I was around 13, and he taught me how to use a gun. He had trained me for years, and how is it shooting with one arm? It's honestly not that bad. The one thing I would say I would strongly recommend, one thing I learned really quickly is that you have to really strengthen your shoulder in order to take the kickback from the gun. And like there are certain muscle memory things that my grandfather hammered into my head just so that way I would never forget them when it came to using any sort of weapon or firearm. For example, rule number one that you always treat with a firearm: always treat it as if it were loaded. Never, ever, ever treat it otherwise. Even if you had just taken it out of the magazine and if you had just cleared out the barrel and everything is just completely empty, always treat a firearm as if it's loaded. At all times, no exceptions. Number two, whenever you do not, under any circumstances, put your finger on that trigger unless you are ready to shoot, and make sure that whatever you are aiming at, you intend to shoot at. Like, other than that, you keep your finger off that trigger at the same time. Don't point as though you don't want to destroy. Exactly. Rule number three: whenever you have your finger on the gun, whenever you always point it at the ground, so that way it's not pointing at any living target. That is another thing I was taught very early on. So yeah, he started off with something. He started off with smaller weapons like a BB rifle, just to kind of get me used to the idea of loading and reloading, and that was something that I learned for maybe about several months before he just felt it was proper for me to upgrade to a real gun. And I learned how to use a 22 caliber rifle for a long while, and amongst all of that, he also taught me how to use a 357 Magnum. No, not 357. A shotgun. It was It was a 12 gauge shotgun, bird and buckshot. And so we would always do this from a seated position because that was something a lot more comfortable and I could realistically hold without having to worry about my other arm getting in the way. I honestly don't like shooting Rio guns. Airsoft and BB guns are fun to shoot, though. Oh yeah, no, like I've done some I've done some BB guns and I've done some paintball shooting, but I do enjoy the idea of using real guns. Now, granted, I only use guns whenever I'm at a real range, and granted, I have not shot a real gun in years, but I can do it, and it is something where I'm not really. I feel like a lot of people think that guns are dangerous, and yes, they can be very dangerous, but here's the thing: guns don't kill people. People with guns kill people, and people who misuse guns improperly. There's nothing wrong with having a weapon to defend yourself. What matters is the timing and placing and whether or not you're using it in self-defense. It's not the weapon itself that's evil, it's how you're using it. That's something I try to really separate when it comes to firearms and the weapon, and actually separate the mentality of what the weapon is and how I'm using it. Yes, I agree with that. I just don't like the kickbacks on guns. Oh no, don't get me wrong. The kickback is something that can hit pretty hard. I mean, I'm personally trying to get my own firearm just to figure out which one would be perfect for me. If I had to pick a gun that I really would like to try and learn how to use, is I think it's the Beretta, the one that Revy uses from Black Lagoon. I really like the aesthetics of that one. Let's see. My father goes hunting on occasion and pretty much follows a similar set of values. Exactly. Like, honestly, the people who have been trained properly to use guns are usually the ones that are the most strict about, the rules around them in the first place. Because I remember my mother having to mention to me stories of when she and her brothers would go hunting with my grandfather, and one time they were kind of messing around with the guns, and one of my uncles accidentally shot off a shotgun in the house and shipped off a bit of the fireplace, and my grandfather was pissed at him, and he gave him a royal chewing out. Handgun or shotgun, best options for sure. Exactly. Like, he was extremely pissed, especially after all that he was trying to teach him. Wait, we deal with the 5. Oh, I think we're supposed to go up to 381. Yeah, there we go. Don't think the counter counted that one. But yeah, there's a lot of rules and regulations when it comes to what guns we're allowed to use and the rules we're regulating around them. And then my grandfather was kind of a more hardcore type of dude. This was a guy. My grandfather, for what I remember, was a dude who flew in the Royal Canadian Air Force during World War II, crashed into another plane mid-air, and lived. And I'm just like, dude, that you were just built different. And this is another dude who also raised dogs for dog shows. Like, he actually bred dogs for performances and whatnot, like you would see on TV. Like, he was a hardcore dude, and if anything, if you want someone who basically embodies what my grandfather was like, watch the movie Gran Torino. Like, Clint Eastwood is more or less in that movie my grandfather in terms of how he looked, acted, and talked in almost every way. Sounds like he's a hardcore dude. Oh no, my grandfather, he did not mess around. I mean, he was a cool dude. I mean, loved him to bits, but he was not something you screwed around with. And the same thing goes with my grandmother. Alright, that's another one. Yep, no dice. Yeah, so, and my other one, granted, the one I'm describing right now is my mom's dad. My dad's dad, my other grandfather, he was the one who taught me how to shoot, and this is the dude who trained cops for like 30 or 40 years, and dude knew the police force and how it regulated inside and out. Hello, Barrett, Kersan here. How are you doing? I'm doing well, Kersan. We're just kind of talking, mostly just talking firearms stuff and the safety regulations regarding those, and kind of regaling stories about my family a little bit. I was telling them how kind of what kind of shenanigans my grandfather used to get up to way back in the day, and I was telling them how my grandfather was part of the Royal Canadian Air Force, crashed a plane mid-air and lived. And that, like, I'm not even kidding you, like, literally, he was out of bullets, and just to get that extra kill on his last fight, he, like, literally just slammed into another plane midair just to take it out. And I'm just like, dude, you didn't even know if you were gonna live. And granted, he did develop a little bit of a fear of flying after that. But man, I have immense respect for the fact that he did that. It was ridiculous. Like, there was points where I was like, okay, there's balls of steel, and then there's just crazy. Like, you're just, that was my grandfather, was just crazy. Granted, I love him though. He was a really cool dude. Regulations, huh? I didn't think of that. Yeah, it was more just because mostly because Bonnie was just asking like what my favorite firearm was, and we just kind of got on this huge tangent of like what kind of firearms have I used in the past, what kind of regulations and methods was I taught in terms of my safety features and everything, just the rules and what you need to learn in order to use a gun properly and never how to and not how to misuse it, and then just kind of it just kind of segued into that whole story. You know, my parents have told me many stories when it comes to them messing with their siblings. I believe there was one time when I remember my mother telling me that she and her brothers would used to mess with each other a lot, to the point where I think there was one time where she and one of my other uncles, I think it was like the middle brother of the three, and he would basically put mashed potatoes in her shoes during dinner, and while my grandparents weren't looking. And this got my mother so mad that she literally picked up a fork and stabbed it into his head. Not like permanent damage, but it did leave a bit of a mark. And granted, they were at like cats and dogs sometimes. And granted, I'm just thinking to myself, it's like, man, Mom, if I hadn't done anything like that to my siblings, you would have knocked me into next week. Again, my mom's not a violent person at all. Like, my mother is honestly one of the sweetest women you'll ever meet. What a waste of good potatoes. I know, it was sad. Yeah, literally just right in the head. Again, no, my uncle was fine. And it was just a case of my mom and one of my uncles were like polar opposite with each other. My eldest uncle was a cool one. The youngest one I never met. Just because he died well before I was born. Let's see, the firearm safety is something that a lot of countries do follow through. There are other times it is inconsistent. Yeah, it's unfortunately inconsistent. But I won't go into the politics of that sort of thing. I'm just talking with my own experience and what I've heard from my own family members. I think there was another time where, let's see, what was it? God, what was the story? What was this? There was one. Kind of want to tell a story about my dad. Basically, when he was in, I remember it was either in high school or college, where he had a like almost pale banana. I almost feel like I remember this right. It was a pale banana-ish yellow Volkswagen Bug, and this was back during the '80s, I believe. Yeah, it was a pale yellow Volkswagen Bug. And he was off at a little bonfire party, with his buddies over at the beach. And I think that years and years ago, back when he was in college. And I remember him telling me how he was just hanging around with his friends. And keep in mind, he wasn't drinking that night, but the rest of his buddies were. And while he was busy having fun with his buddies, someone, he never figured out who did this. Someone stole his car and drove it into the ocean. And this was like, I think on like South Carolina or something like that, where they were doing this. And I just couldn't help but think to myself, one thing, how did they get access to your car? And number two, how did you not manage to get it out of the water? Did you just leave it? Did you have to take a towing company to get it out? Like, what happened? And he basically says, like, yeah, he got the car back, but it was so waterlogged that he had to get it replaced. Which, to me, was just ridiculous. And thinking to myself, like, man, you and Mom got up into a lot of shenanigans before I was born. And it almost makes me feel bad for the fact that I never really acted in such a way. I never really got into that many crazy shenanigans compared to what they used to do. I remember them talking about how one story I remember my dad telling me was when they were in college, they got into a little bit of a war with one of the other members of the houses, or one of the other houses on campus. They stole their swordfish from their main door lobby. There's literally a giant life-size swordfish. They stole it from their dorm room. Walked across the campus in the middle of the night, and then hoisted it up on the flag, and then just pulled the whole thing up and hoisted the swordfish on the flag and hung it up there. And they couldn't get it down until the next afternoon. Everyone was just laughing at the fact that everyone's swordfish was stolen. And I'm just like, why couldn't we do crap like that? Oh yeah, that's right, because we get in trouble for it. That sounds like a Pixies song gone awry. It sounds about right. Let's see. For God's sake, in my country, the firearms are strictly regulated, and we have almost no murders that involve guns. You can't own a gun without going through background and mental health check. Seems pretty legit to me. I have nothing against that. You can't even have one unless you went to law school, and that's the point. Exactly. That's fun. Like I said, my parents did some weird stuff and got into a lot of shenanigans. Of course, there was the classic college panty raid kind of thing, which there were some guys who did do that sort of thing. I don't remember if my dad ever did. I don't think my dad ever did anything like that, because my dad is very much like me, or at least I should say I'm very much a lot like him, whereas a lot of people basically said I'm more or less a clone of my father, both in terms of how I talk, how I look, and how I sound, everything. To the point where we joke about saying, are you sure I wasn't grown in a test tube at some point? Driving into the ocean, fish theft, I think Black Francis would have something to say about that. Probably, yeah. Hey, what's another... I'm trying to think what's another really weird story. I think there was one where... no, I think there was one time where... Oh, shoot. What was the story? Oh, I know. Okay, so my dad used to work at a textile mill, and if you're like just actually making clothing and whatnot for people and stuff like that, or making fabrics. And this was back when he was working multiple jobs at the time. Something like working at a pharmacy, textile mill, doing a paper route, all that sort of jazz. And he would often tell me of how he and his coworkers, whenever they had a break or whatnot during off hours, sometimes they would take the shop vacs from the closet from when they were done working from the day and ride them around like jet wrecks or something like that. Like, they would literally get on top of these shop vacs, and literally these things were basically jet engines on wheels, just like a little tiny turbine, and just go brrr, and just ride all over the shop floor like they were freaking go-karts. And I'm just thinking to myself, that is just the dumbest yet most fun thing I've heard all day. I almost kind of wish, like, can I find one of these myself? Because I kind of want to try them out. I'll have to try something like that with mine. I mean, if you can find a shop vac big enough for that, because it would just literally just go brrr. I think there was there's another one I can think of. One that really got on my great-grandparents' nerves. So, another one that my dad told me was when he was really, really young. I think it was like maybe around 3 or 4, something like that. And my great-grandparents loved him to bits. And one of the things that he did was, you remember that old trick of don't put a penny in a light socket? Like a power outlet, essentially, because otherwise you'll just go, like, lights will go crazy. Yeah, my dad did that and caused the wallpaper on the side of the house to have this little dark scar across the wall, and my great-grandmother was peeved about that, but more concerned about his life. And I'm just thinking, how the heck did you do that and not get yourself kit? Is it still there? I don't know. It was eons. So I think they had gotten that repaired years after that, or years after the fact. And so when I find it, let's say the 3 I worked at had these wheeled carts, and the fabric was stretched over a frame. I'd sometimes ride around in that thing pushed by a coworker. Funny enough, I somewhat did the same thing. My great-grandfather, when I was a really little kid, he would take me out back into his garden and then sometimes wheel me around his wood shop barrel or wheelbarrow and just kind of ride around the background. Pokecard Central. Hi. How are you doing, Pokecard? Hope you're doing well today. Kind of just doing a little bit of a Masuda method, shiny hunting for Dratini. All the same time, kind of telling weird stories about my family and kind of the weird shenanigans they've gotten up to over the years. I think one of the other ones, but yeah, my dad just put a penny in a light socket. I was just like, what the heck did you do that? That's just so dumb. Granted, I get he was a kid, so I can't really get mad at him too much for that. I'm trying to think if I never really did anything that stupid when I was a kid. I mean, the most I ever did was would willingly toss myself down a rocky hill just for the sake of just having that rolling sensation. Just literally just throw myself down a hill. I know I've had a light bulb explode on me. Question: was the light bulb in your hand? That's the key difference. Was the light bulb in your hand, or were you trying to switch it out, or did you not turn the lights off before you did it? What happened? Youch, yeah, Youch is right. I would definitely not want to have a. I would definitely not want to have a light bulb explode in my head. God, I forgot that I can't sleep due to my sleep schedule got screwed up. Oh well, what can you do? Yeah, no, I. At this point, I've given up on having a consistent sleep schedule. As you can tell by the fact that I'm yawning. No, no, I put a new one. It was an older one, and I turned it on, and it exploded. Oh, so you put in a new old light bulb into a socket, and then it exploded. Got it. Okay. You weren't hurt. Hopefully, I'm assuming you weren't hurt, but hopefully you weren't. What about you, Pokecart Central? What are you up to? Hope your day is going well for you, sir. No, I put a note. Yeah, okay. I'm glad to hear at least you were okay. That was alright. It was funny to watch. Oh, I bet it was. I was trying to think if I ever did anything. Oh. I don't know if I would call this something stupid, but it was more or less something where I just had to be creative. And the first time I really started messing with people, where the first time I ever used my arm for for something outside of its intended use. So yeah, here's my regular arm as is, no prosthetic on it. But when I was in sixth grade, I think I was around 11 or 12 at the time. No, I was 12 years old, and I was in science class, and we were kind. You know that static that experiment we do whenever you try to rub a balloon against your head, try to create static electricity and get it to stick. Well, first off, mine was stuck to me like glue because that thing just would not let go. But that one particular day, I think it was around spring, and I was sitting in my chair, just kind of doing my own thing. We were messing around with this experiment, but what had happened was I just got this itch in my back that I couldn't get to. And I started looking at my prosthetic going, wait a second, what if I did this? And the wheels started spinning in my head. And once I did that, I was like, what if I just took my arm off? Literally, as I'm doing this process, I'm thinking about it, literally reached over the back of my neck and just started using the back of my arm and the hand grip of it to scratch my back. And all my classmates just stop on a dime, turn to me and say, what are you doing? And so I was, and granted, the teacher just kind of laughed at the whole situation. Like, wow, that's actually one of the most brilliant things I've ever seen. It's just, it was just so stupid of how I was able to think of that on the spot. And I've always thought of, ever since then, I've always tried to think of really weird, bizarre things regarding my arm and try to use it for something. I think the one that was just to me the most amusing was literally within that same day, or at least the day after that, I went with my mother because we usually went to go get McDonald's or something like that afterwards because I was usually hungry and wanted a snack of something like that, so I'd get like fries or nuggets or whatever it was and a Coke. And I remember if we had a whole bunch of drinks in the car and we didn't have enough room to fit everyone's drinks in the cup holder because for some reason McDonald's even back then had gargantuan sized cups that couldn't fit in regular cup holders. I would then take the cup that was mine, take my arm off, hold it upright, and then literally slide in the cup into my arm socket where I would rest my actual hand, rest my arm inside it to hold it. I would rest the cup there and hold it there and make a makeshift cup holder out of it. And it worked perfectly. It worked. It fit so well. It never spilled once. And I'm just thinking to myself, what is wrong with me? The prosthetic arm really would be something that would have a technological features you would utilize. Exactly. That's really creative. It's literally just like, I see big round thing, I see peg, I see hole, I fit peg into hole, the end. That's essentially my line of thought with the whole thing. And my mother just looked at me going, oh, good God. That it was just something that she was just baffled by, the fact that I thought of that. Granted, it's not the worst thing I've ever done with my arm. Granted, a lot of the worst things I've ever done with my arm have all been by accident, or me just being stupid. I'm thinking, question: Did I ever tell you guys about the time that I bit? Actually, I'm sure Ornis has heard this story. Have I ever told you about the time that I had my arm fly off of me during a roller coaster ride? Nope, haven't heard this one. All right. So buckle up, because this is gonna be a. I don't think I did. All right, I know Ornis has heard this story, but I'll share it with you all since y'all haven't heard it. Okay, so what happened was this. I was about 10 or 11 years old, and we went to the state fair. And oh wait, I don't think it counted. Oh yeah, we're at 400 eggs now. I just realized. So what happened was I was about 10 or 11 years old. We are heading to the state fair, and you know those giant tilt-a-whirl rides that picks you up and spins you around while you're sitting in it or standing up? So I normally do not ever wear my prosthetic on a ride of any kind. It doesn't matter how intense or slow it is. I just don't wear it because normally I just thought it's a bad idea. Now, this is the one time I actually forgot that I had it on, and I didn't think about it. And I get on the ride, I'm standing up in the tilt-a-whirl ride, it picks you up, spins you around like normal, and of course the whole tilt-a-whirl is just kind of jostling and gyrating as it normally would, like a giant top. Except, on this particular day, it was really hot and humid, and my arm was sweaty. As a result of this whole mess, about halfway through this ride, the arm literally flies off my body like this. Flies off as if it was Superman taking off, and flies out of the tilt-a-whirl like almost like a bottle rocket. It's like, and flies out of the ride and lands in the dirt path right in the middle, right outside the ride. Now, keep in mind, it had rained the night before that, and normally in North Carolina, if you're in the middle of the state, you usually get something called red mud when it rains. And this red mud was about as dark as blood. By the time I had gotten out of the ride, with the most stone-cold expression on my face you could possibly imagine, I noticed that your one flew off when you were in a roller coaster. That's flat out bad, as if it takes off like that. Oh no, it gets worse. It gets worse. So it flies off, lands in the middle of this mud path. It looks like blood red. It lands in front of a 9-year-old boy and his mother. I get off the ride, again, stone cold expression on my face, like nothing weird had happened. Granted, I was embarrassed about the whole thing. I get off the ride, I find my arm, I pick it up, dust it off, and I literally click the whole thing back into place. The kid soiled and peed himself at the same time while while looking at me stick my arm on at the same time. And he screamed at the top of his lungs. I would not be surprised if I was responsible for that kid's therapy bills later on. That would be Cool Enderman. How you doing, Cool Enderman? Let's see. Hold on. Cool Enderman. Oh, sorry. Cool Enderman 476. I'm sorry. Does that mean there's 475 other Endermen that are just as cool? Let's say, oh lord, that's even worse. It is worse. Granted, it's immensely funny. It's probably one of the more effed up things that's ever happened to my arm. Doing pretty good? Nice. What brings you? Glad you're stopping by. We're just kind of doing some Masuda methods, shiny hunting, just kind of chilling out. No, nothing too stressful. We're just kicking back and telling some dumb stories and weird shenanigans of things I've gotten up to over the years. Mainly involving my prosthetic and just the shenanigans involved. I'm trying to think if there's any other story. Oh, I did have my arm slide off my body one time whenever we were walking into church. It was literally, oh god, this spring day was so hot, and I was already sweating like a mule by the time that we were done. Or by the time we were heading up to the building, and we had to usually walk up this giant pathway, this like giant asphalt road, and just to get up to the church. And by the time we got there, halfway up the road, my arm just fell off and just bonked itself into the middle of the road in front of all my classmates too. And that was, I'm not gonna lie, that was a bit embarrassing. That is nice, but I feel bad that you're missing an arm. Oh, Enderman, don't feel bad. Don't feel bad about it at all. I've lived with it my whole life. I literally know nothing else, so do not feel sorry for it at all. I've just learned to make do with it because it's all I've ever known. Alright, next batch of eggs. And good to go. Honestly, if I had a prosthetic arm in my life and I was born without arms, then I wouldn't be able to attend school due to it, and I'd be forced to have one. Wait. Hold on, if I'm reading that right, Kursan, does that mean you're saying that you can't go to school with... Wait. I was born without... You're saying you can't go to school unless you have a prosthetic limb? If you're missing one? Like, you're not allowed to attend at all? Is that the case? Or am I reading that wrong? So I find it fascinating that you're missing an arm. I wouldn't have found it weird. I mean, I never really keep it a secret. And I know that a lot of people are like, oh, why don't you showcase it on stream more? I'm like... It's not that I don't want to, it's just a matter of I just don't know how many people would be outright interested in seeing something like that. That sounds like some ugly law stuff. Again, I could be misinterpreting this, Lord Ornus. I might be wrong. But yeah, I've had prosthetics in some way, shape, or form since I was 6 months old. In fact, if this kind of gives you an... did your classmates know that you had one arm? Oh yeah, like I said, everybody knew. It was something that I was never keeping it a secret. My family, this is something I will give my family a lot of credit for. They never treated it as if it was a disability. They never stopped me from trying to do or learn anything if I wanted to. And my classmates, they all knew. My best friends knew. My teachers knew. Literally everybody knew. And, I mean, you can't really keep something like that a secret. So, I figured, why bother trying? It's literally one of the first things that people learn about me really quickly. And it's not something where I try to shove it in their face. It's like, hi, my name is Marshall, I have one hand, kind of thing. It's like, I don't do that. It's more of just oh, you find out about it really quickly, that, like, that's a thing that he has. Or he doesn't have. Unless there's a just as valid reason why you can't attend school due to missing limbs, I would have to immediately say that from the get-go. Oh. And for those who don't know, it was illegal at some point in time to be visibly disabled in public in various cities. They were called the ugly laws. Interesting. I've actually never heard of this. That's honestly stupid. It is stupid. I mean, that's like, you might as well just rename them the Quasimodo laws at that point. For all those who are familiar with Hunchback and Notre Dame fans. I don't know. Like, to me, it was something where I never felt the need to keep it a secret. And I always knew that I didn't really become aware of my own situation until I would say maybe about a few years old. Because at that point, it was something I had so used to that it just didn't register in my head. Let's make people who can't help be a little different, not shown in public. Yeah, no, it's stupid. It really is stupid, and thankfully, in hindsight, it's stupid now. And it seems to have stopped as late as 1974. Well, at least it's stopped, and it's still not an ongoing thing. At least here, as far as I'm aware of. I mean, granted, that's not to say we don't have our fair share of stupid laws still around, but it helps make something like that was like, well, at least I could go out in public. Honestly, if we end up getting a Dratini at 512 eggs, I'm gonna laugh. Alright, so that's 410 eggs. I need to check something real quick, because I did change one thing about Dragonite when we got... Okay, jolly. Okay, good, it works. Okay, so one thing I did, just to kind of let you know why they all have the same nature, is I gave Dragonite what's called an Everstone, which allows its nature to be passed on to the Dratini eggs. So since my Dragonite has a jolly nature, all of my Dratini will also be jolly now. So if you're unable to end school due to your severe level of sickness or missing limbs, you can provide a justifiable reason why you can. That would be more appropriate. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, it's something where I don't really try to make a big deal about my disability, and I don't keep it a secret. In fact, I remember when I was a kid, I don't like... Sorry, I might as well mention this story. So, when I was a kid, I would remember my mother waking me up at around, like, crack of dawn, something like that, 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning as a kid, and driving me down to South Carolina to go visit Shriners Hospital. And this is where I would originally get my first sets of prosthetic limbs. And I got my first ones at 6 months old. I've had prosthetics longer than I've been able to walk. And I started walking at 8 months. Really young. And I've had my prosthetics just about as long, if not longer. If that tells you something. So having a prosthetic of some kind has been around for pretty much my entire life. In some way, shape, or form. And when I had those prosthetics, I looked around and saw kids that were around the same age as me, if not younger, even as I grew up, noticing them sometimes having less limbs than mine, and sometimes having no limbs whatsoever, and rolling on the floor, all because they wanted to try and push themselves and see if they can move on their own. And ever since then, it kind of stuck in my head and saying, look, my situation may be unfortunate with what I have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, but I can always look back on it and say, you know what? It could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse. I could have no limbs. I could have some loss of mental faculty because of my lost limbs. I could be in a much worse situation than what I currently am. So I never tried to use it as a means of exploiting to my advantage. You can't have ice cream in your back pocket in some countries because some guy stole a horse that way? Wait, what? That's a thing? Why would you want to keep ice cream in your back pocket? That thing would melt. Unless for some inexplicable reason that you are to attend school on a forceful, mandatory way, showing up without limbs, that is where it would draw the line. Oh, Liquid Death, love it. Yep, that's why I got Liquid Death. Also, the reason why I look backwards right now is because I literally flip the camera perspective just so I can kind of keep track of the where it kind of looks like perspective-wise. I'm looking at the game itself as we're playing. That's some good water. Yeah, I know. I've been drinking it for like 2 years now. What is your favorite Pokemon in the Galar in the Galar region? My favorite is Reboot. Ooh, good question. Okay. Are we talking just brand new? Are we talking like a brand new Pokemon, or are we talking ones that do Galarian forms count? Because I want to make sure that I'm accounting for this right. Because I definitely have a few in the Galar region that I do like. Both in Galarian form and from the new decks as well. And that's another Dratini. We're at 415 eggs now. Place your bets, people. Do you think we're gonna get Dratinis within Oh wait, nope. We miscounted. It's 414 eggs. Now it'll be 415. Any in the Galar region, does not matter if it is old or new. Okay. Favorite Galar region Pokemon? I would say it is discriminatory towards disabled children that can't attend classes and such. No, it pretty much is. Let's see. I think if I had to pick one that is my favorite... Oh, that's tough. I think Caparaja is among my favorites. Because I've always loved elephants. And, where is he? Yeah, Caparaja. I just really like the look of Caparaja. I think it's a really cool Pokemon. I wish its shiny was cooler, though. Because it's kind of a pale, muted color of itself. I wish it was a lot better. So yeah, Caparaja's one. Corviknight's pretty cool. I didn't actually use it on my team, but I still think the design's great. What's another one that I really like? I like Alcremie just because of how silly it is, and I like the variety that it can have. Oh, whoops. By number. There we go. What else? What other Pokemon from the Galar region? I also really like Galarian Rapidash. I think that's a really cool one. It's a very fabulous horse. And I think if I had to name one more Pokemon from this region, I do like Sirfetch'd. Sirfetch'd is kind of cool, and I honestly think it's a much-needed improvement over Farfetch'd. You know what? I'll throw in one more that I like. Let's see, where is it? I can't. I'm sure once I scroll over it, it'll dawn on my head. Now, all this is all the older stuff. No, not. Oh, Toxicity is kind of cool. I think it's unique, and I'm not usually one for poison types, but that one is a pretty legit design. Where is it? Oh yeah, Frostmoth. Frostmoth's pretty cool, and I'm not saying that just because it's literally a frozen moth. I genuinely like its design. I think Galarian Darmanitan is hilarious. Look at his big old snowy lips. I think that's, I think, yeah, Dragapult's kind of an interesting design for a pseudo-legendary. So, yeah, those are all the ones I can think off the top of my head that are my favorite overall Galar Pokemon, at least related to that region. Well, that's all I can speak for, as I don't have to delve into political join that concedes with disabled children or people. Yeah, no, this is a no politics zone, Croissant. At least you got what I'm saying. Yes, I more or less got the idea. Lantern's pretty cute. Oh yeah, Lantern's always been one of my favorites ever since the Johto games. What's your favorite Pokemon in general? Mine is Umbreon. Oh, where the heck do I start with that? I don't think I can even name a. I mean, I can name favorite Pokemon from certain regions, but I don't think I can name one that's like my favorite of all time. Period. Because there's a lot of Pokemon that I really like for different reasons. This question is going to be a journey. If I had to think of, let me try to go through each region in my out loud and say, let me try to think of like every region. If I had to go Kanto, my 3 favorite Pokemon from the Kanto region are probably Arcanine, Mewtwo, and Dragonite. Off the top of my head. If I had to have a 4th one, Raichu. I've always loved Raichu. I've always kind of thought of Raichu as always very underrated compared to Pikachu, and I know Pikachu's the mascot of the franchise. Okay, Chris, I made it in time. How's it going? Oh, it's going pretty well, Poke Chris. We're still hunting down the Dratini. We're about 415 eggs in now, and we're just kind of discussing favorite Pokemon in general. I just talked about what my favorite Galar Pokemon from this region are. I'm kind of going through each region now to say like which ones are my favorite overall. I don't know if I can really speak for Alola because I haven't played for that generation. I know what's in the decks. I just can't remember all of the ones that were specific to that game series, so I might need some work on that one. Kind of makes me think, kind of like what it makes me think of a Pokemon that is a juggernaut. Yeah, Pokemon is a juggernaut of a franchise. If I remember correctly, it's like the most popular and most profitable franchise in the world. Like, even more so than Marvel, which is ridiculous, and Star Wars, which, again, is also ridiculous. As for favorite Pokemon in general, I would say, so Kanto, just speaking Kanto related, Mewtwo, Dragonite, Arcanine, and Raichu. If I had to name 4. If I'm going to pick a 5th one, ooh, that's tough. A 5th one. I'm going to say, that's a really tough one. I'm going to probably choose Articuno. I really like Articuno, and that was probably so little reason for Articuno, and I only grew more fond of it recently because, as some of y'all know, I've been doing a Nuzlocke in my spare time, and I've been doing it, streaming that as well, and we are currently near the end of Fire Red Nuzlocke, the Fire Red Omega Nuzlocke. However, there's one Nuzlocke I did before that was sort of my unofficial first Nuzlocke, because I wanted to try and practice what it was like to get myself in that headspace of doing a Nuzlocke. And I did a Soul Silver randomizer Nuzlocke, and the starter that I had was Articuno, and it carried me through a lot of the game, and I was like, dude, Articuno is awesome, I love this thing, and I got to the point where nearly having a team of all flying types in some way, shape, or form. And it just felt so cool just having that team together and having that random encounter. Even getting to the point of having a shiny Dragonite on my team. It really hit me and had a lot of fun doing it. So it made me want to try Nuzlocke legitimately. Let's see. Have you seen the new Star Wars series? I heard it isn't the best. Which one? There's like a bajillion of them that have been coming out over the last few years. I meant the Pokemon I was referring to, Chestnut. Oh, from Kalos. Yeah, Chestnut's not that bad. I don't hate him as much as some people do. I was always more of a Delphox fan personally because I like the aesthetic of a witch Pokemon that's a fox and that shoots fire, and I just thought it was a cool idea. Granted, I will admit, aesthetically speaking, Greninja probably is the best design. I'm just gonna say it right now. I will fully admit it. Greninja probably has best design, but I still have a soft spot for Delphox. Alright, so those are probably the ones I would say are my favorite Cantonian Pokemon. Articuno, Raichu, Dragonite, Mewtwo, Articuno, Raichu, Arcanine, Mewtwo, Dragonite. Those are the 5 I would say from that region. For Johto, okay, I know this is probably going to be a bit of a controversial choice, I'm gonna put all of them in this spot just because I really like this line and I've always thought it was adorable. The Chikorita line. I've always liked Chikorita. I know a lot of people like to give crap to Meganium and saying it's the worst starter in the Johto games, and I won't lie, it is. It's not exactly the best choice, but I still like Meganium. I think Meganium is a precious little cinnamon roll, and Chikorita is just adorable. And I love Bayleaf. I think it's a great second evolution. But other one, I would say another favorite of mine is the Cyndaquil line, especially Quilava. Quilava is adorable in my opinion. Recently got of Shiny Reshiram and it with 12 encounters, which is insane luck. Oh, Chris, that's awesome. I mean, I actually got I recently got another shiny last night. Is shiny female Combi, and I evolved into the Vespiquen already, so I can bring her out in at some point. And I nicknamed her Honeypot because duh, it's a bee. Um, let's see. I wish they had the evolutions in Smash Bros. That would have been cool if they had if they allowed you to do evolutions in the game. I love Meganium. Let's see, Pokerus. Let's say I love Meganium. He's so much. He is cool looking, but I think Chikorita is very ugly. Aw, I'm sorry. All right, fair enough, Chris. I can't say that I agree, but I'll let you have your opinion. That's okay. I personally think Chikorita is adorable, and I think it's mostly just because of my aesthetic choices from when I saw the anime version of Chikorita. I'm just like, oh, that's so adorable. I just want to cuddle with it and just give it a big hug. But yeah, the Cyndaquil line was always one that I really, really liked. I loved the first form. I loved the second form. The third form I just thought was badass. I really like Typhlosion. So yeah, the overall 2 out of those 3 starters I really like. Lantern I always liked, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite water type in the game. And I don't get me wrong, I don't mind Feraligatr. It's more of just, and Feraligatr is really good in a playthrough just because of how many TMs and HMs it can learn. And it's really useful on a team overall. But I would say it's not my overall favorite of the bunch. Perry, how are you doing? I'm doing alright, Rosie. We're just kind of talking favorite Pokemon in general. Wait, I just realized we haven't swapped out our teams. We've just kind of running around. Alright, let's see. How many boxes do we have left of Dratini eggs? Oh, we got plenty. Yeah, we got 3 boxes full of Dratini eggs left. Alright, let's see what we got. Let's see, no offense to Chikorita, but I personally don't like Chikorita, but I do like Bayfluke. Yeah, it's perfectly fine, Chris. Nothing wrong with that. You have your opinion, I have mine. As a playable fighter, as in I felt missed opportunity to include Chestnut. And yeah, I would have liked to see Chestnut more than Incineroar. That's just me, though. I'm not really a fan of Incineroar. To me, its design was just like, what the heck is that? I felt like if it was on all fours, and let me put it this way, I don't have any problem with Pokemon being bipedal or anything like that from starters, but I just was never a fan of the pro wrestler kind of vibe, luchador vibes I got from Incineroar. That's just me. As for, let's see, going back to Johto, let's see, I already mentioned the Meganium line, and I already mentioned Cyndaquil line. Let's see. I would say another one of my favorite Pokemon from... Okay, easy one for me is Lugia. I've always loved Lugia. I think it's probably one of the best designs of a Pokemon I've ever seen. And I've always been had a fondness for it. So yeah, that's probably another one. And plus the movie was a huge influence on the Pokemon movie 2000. I really love Lugia. And I've always just... anytime whenever I could have a Lugia, I thought I would want one. And I know this is a small thing, but I love the overworld sprite that it had in Soul Silver. To me, it was just like, mwah, perfect. Especially its entrance whenever you finished off the Silver Wing ritual. Another one that I really love is Espeon. Espeon is, I know a lot of people are big Umbreon fans, but my favorite evolution is Espeon. It's always been a ace on my team whenever I've had it. Every time I've ever used it. And it's really never let me down. And I love Lugia as well. I love how its hands are its wings. It's super cool. Oh yeah, no. Lugia is a fantastic design. It's like 10 out of 10 if I had to rank it. But Espeon has always been an ace of my team. And don't get me wrong, I love Umbreon. I love all the evolutions. Let me make this clear. Like, to me, there's not a bad one. There's some that are probably more useful than others in certain playthroughs, but I can't say with a straight face that any one of them, in my opinion, are bad. So, but yeah, Espeon is overall my favorite, and that was the large part due to Pokemon Colosseum when I played that as a kid on the GameCube. As soon as I played that, it was like, dude, Espeon and Umbreon as a tag team is awesome. And so I've always just grew fond for Espeon, plus Psychic type was always my favorite type as a kid, and Espeon was just like the natural fit. It's like, oh my god, it's a Psychic type Eevee. This is the coolest thing ever. I really like Lunatone, the creepy Moon Rock. Oh yeah, Lunatone's cool, as well as Soul Rock. Like, I always liked that as a concept. That was a great idea. Let's see, if I had to think of another one off the top of my head. Okay. One that I would say is really underrated, in my personal opinion, is Kingdra. I really love Kingdra's design. I've always wanted to use it on a team at some point. What are you doing? Please tell me you're not going to hurt them. Oh no, don't worry, Chris. I'm not going to hurt the baby Dratinis. They will all be perfectly fine. I'm just trying to Masuda method all of my Dratini together and try to get myself a shiny one, because Shiny Dragonite has been one of my personal favorites for a long time. But don't worry, I'm not going to hurt the precious little baby dragons. Let's see, what else? Yeah, but Kingdra has always been another one that I've always really liked, aesthetically speaking. I think it's a fantastic third evolution. Let's see. Oh, okay, one more. One more Pokemon that I really, really like. That's, I'm trying to think of one that's not a legendary, is Skarmory. Skarmory, in my opinion, is one of my favorite flying types in general, because there's not really a lot of Pokemon that are like it. Until Corviknight came along, I believe it was the only one that was a steel flying type, and that sucker is a tank. And I remember playing Silver for the first time, going to Blackthorn City, and before going to deal off with Claire, I remember dealing with a whole bunch of Teddy Ursas and Ursarangs right outside of the gym and during the route. And I saw this just giant metal bird, and I was just like, dude, what is that? I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. And so Skarmory, I've always liked it. And anytime, whenever I've had a chance to have a Skarmory on my team, I was like, dude, you're on it. I don't care. Like, Skarmory's a great physical tank. Let's say, don't get me wrong, Perry. Incineroar is the one that has been included in Smash Bros. Given it a wrestling type fighter, and I don't mind that. But Chestnut obviously should have been included in Smash Bros. I just don't know how they would have implemented his moveset. I'm sure they could have figured out something to make it work. Rank Yarnchop extremely underrated, as I feel no one talks about him. I can smell the sarcasm from here, Chris. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind Garchomp. I have nothing against him. Oh yeah, I also do like Tyranitar, if we're going back to talk about Johto again. But yeah, if I had to name one more, that would probably be a Skarmory and Tyranitar. Hoenn games now. Ooh, that's a tough one. Okay, if I had to pick my favorite starter of the lot, I would say I was always a Sceptile fan. I always liked Trico, Grovyle, and Sceptile, but then again, I don't dislike any of the dislike any of the starters for Hoenn. I think they're all great. Like Blaziken, Swampert, and Sceptile was like, if you had like almost perfect design and Pokemon throughout the entire run for that generation, I think the Hoenn's trio is fantastic. Easily some of the best that's ever been made. But I always had a soft spot for Sceptile, just because of its overall aesthetic. And that's just me. I personally really like it. But I've used Blaziken, I've used Swampert, and both were great. I've never had any issues with either of them. But if I had to pick one out of the bunch, it would be Sceptile. Let's see. Outside of that, Hoenn tree. I'd say Hoenn ones. Metagross and Salamence, the both pseudo legendaries. Always really like them. Let's see. What other ones can I think of? Outside of that, I always thought Hariyama was kind of cool, at least in terms of a cool fighting type. Swallow was also a really good bird, but I don't know if is it one of my favorites. I don't know. I'm gonna look at the Hoenn Pokedex. Hoenn Pokemon. Yeah, Hoenn Pokedex. Let me take a look. See what we got. Because I'm kind of blanking out in terms of what is and isn't in there. Oh yeah, Gardevoir. Duh. That's another one of my longtime favorites is Gardevoir. Pretty much used her anytime whenever I couldn't get a major psychic type on my team outside of Ralts. Oh yeah, that's a fun one. Wailord is another favorite of mine from that region. I absolutely love Wailord. It's just a big, chungus, flying blimp whale. I love it. And, oh, Milotic. Yeah, those are probably the ones I would say are my favorite Hoenn Pokemon in general. Like, honestly, there's a lot that I could probably name one after the other that I really, really like. Skarmory is the best Stiffy and Bear. Funny enough, Ornus, I actually last time I had a Skarmory when I was messing around during Oras, I think. I actually named it Stimph. Let's see. Kirsan is saying I can't think of other Pokemon that are fighter types outside of Lucario, Mewtwo, Greninja, and Incineroar. I mean, they could have done either Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, Hitmontop. They could have done Blaziken. Zoroark would have been interesting. That would have been kind of cool to have a mischievous Pokemon like that. What else? Yeah, those are all the ones I really like for Hoenn off the top of my head. Sinnoh. Okay, starter-wise, this is no contest. Infernape. Easily, Infernape is my favorite starter of that lot, is Infernape. And because of my affinity and my liking for the Journey to the West storyline and Sun Wukong, I just think it's a fantastic book and a fantastic story. And the fact that Sun Wukong is so blatantly the inspiration for Infernape, like, dude, I can't help but love it. Fantastic design. I know a lot of people don't like the firefighting types being kind of a joke of those games at the time, but I still loved Infernape, and it was the best fire type out of the two that you could actually get in the freaking early games of Diamond Pearl, and it wasn't until Platinum they kind of fixed it, but it wasn't by much. But if I had to think other Sinnoh related Pokemon, which ones would I say I really liked? I'm gonna try and I want to try and think of ones that are not from. Sorry, I'm trying to think of ones that are not legendary because I feel like if I just loaded up everything with legendaries, then it's not nearly as interesting. Luxray, also because of course Luxray is probably one of the best designs for an electric type I've ever seen. Lopunny, obviously another one of my favorites. I really like Lopunny, and I've always liked the design of it. Also because I'm a sucker for rabbits. I love a lot of the stage evolutions they gave for a lot of older generations. I think Dust Noir is probably my favorite of the bunch. Lucaria is also a classic. And Garchomp is, of course, really cool. I have nothing against it. Yeah, so that's really all the ones I can think about for Sinnoh. Unova. Unova Pokedex. This is going to probably be a little bit more difficult. Let's see what I can find. Oh, yeah. Favorite starter of the lot? The Superior line. Wow, I'm noticing I pick the grass types a lot, or at least I have a liking for the grass type starters a lot. Another one I really like is Victini. Victini, I've always loved its design. It's just so cute and adorable and really, really powerful. Oh, wait. If I remember correctly, I think Shaman is also a Sinnoh Pokemon, if I remember right, if it was introduced in that generation. So, is that right? Was Shaman introduced in Gen 4 or was it Gen 5? Because I can't remember off the top of my head. So are we gonna get any luck with it? Nope. Alright, so we're at 423. Oh, I just realized we passed 420. Darn it. I say, actually, now that I think about it, I have two favorite Pokemon, Umbreon and Sylveon. Both very good evolutions. Sorry, I cannot talk. Yeah, both of them are really good. There's no, like I said, there's no bad evolution in my opinion. Alright, so that is 425. I just think they look cute. Yeah, they both, all of them are cute, honestly. I have nothing against any of the evolutions. Alright. I'm trying to remember. Was Shaman Shaman was a Gen 4 or was it Gen 5 Pokemon? I want to assume it's Gen 4. So it feels like it's from that generation. Whoosh. Sorry, I tripped over my can of water right here. Thankfully, nothing got wet. In the meantime, I'm going to see if I can look through more of the Unova decks and see which one I really like. Oh, Audino. Audino is another one that I really love from Unova, outside of the starter line. I just thought it's just too cute, and I just want to hug the sucker. Darmanitan is another really good favorite of mine. I really love using it anytime I get the chance. Zoroark is fantastic. Chinchino is absolutely precious. I always thought Emolgas looked cute. I like the winter form of Salzbuck the most. That's just personal preference. Never really been huge on spiders, but Galvantula always looked cool. I've also, I guess, Haxorus always was neat. Golurk was cool. Braviary, and as well as, oh yeah, if I had to name one Pokemon though, that's my overall favorite from Unova, Volcarona. Volcarona easily is one of my favorites, period, in Unova region. Well, Perry, it's 420 somewhere. Yep, we passed by the 420 mark. Like I said, there's just a lot of Pokemon that I really like over the years. I hope that okay. Now, I don't know if y'all know this, but this is something I've kind of had in the back burner in my head for a long while. But as I was doing this Nuzlocke, One of the things I was thinking about is that if I managed to do a Nuzlocke, a successful Nuzlocke of every major region in sequential order, one other thing I wanted to do was I wanted to get a panoramic painting of myself with all of the team members who managed to make it through each of the leagues together. Had like one giant sort of team group painting kind of deal. I just think that'd be kind of neat to celebrate with everybody who managed to make it through all the way to the end and beat the Elite Four together. Although I imagine once we actually do get to Johto, that's going to be a massive undertaking, just due to the fact that we have to not only beat the gym leaders, the Elite Four, all of Kanto, and then Red. That's going to be a humongous undertaking. Because it'll essentially be like playing through Fire Red Omega twice over. Poland shouldn't be too bad, though. Considering that we'll be playing through a hacked version of essentially Oras, which would be awesome. Yeah, pleasure. What do you think? What number do you think we're actually going to crack this Dratini egg at to get a shiny? Let's see. Going to be a bit off topic. Do you like the sci-fi genre? There are sci-fi effects I actually like. Yes, I do like the sci-fi genre a lot. In fact, if you look on my background right now, you can actually see a poster for my favorite sci-fi franchise, Ghost in the Shell. I really love cyberpunk as a genre, and some of the stuff that the stories involved in. I really like Ghost in the Shell, Battle Angel Alita, Monarch Scramble, Serial Experiment Lane, which is kind of sci-fi-ish, but it's more surrealist sci-fi. If I had to make sense. Uh, let's see what else. I also really like. I mean, Star Wars and Star Trek. I really like in piecemeal, or at least some stuff in general. Although Star Wars is more science fantasy, Star Trek is all right. I have nothing against it. Um, I would also say I really like Gurren Lagann. I'd say that's partially science fiction. Gunbuster is great. I also like Evangelion, which is which is really good. So yeah, I generally enjoy the sci-fi. Ghost in the Shell. I have a friend from Arizona who likes that. Oh yeah, no, Ghost in the Shell is to me fantastic. I could watch Ghost in the Shell any day of the week, and I would be immensely satisfied no matter what. If I had to pick, and now I know I said I couldn't name like my favorite Pokemon of all time, but I could definitely name my favorite film of all time. Literally, Ghost in the Shell. 1995's Ghost in the Shell, just period. It had all the right buttons for me. I absolutely loved it. I remember going in blind, not knowing a thing about it, and watching it for the very first time while I was living in Texas the first time. And watching it for a film class, because we had to have an assignment where we would research a film and its impact on cinema. So one that we haven't watched in class yet, and I was divided between three different films. I was thinking Akira, Appleseed, or Ghost in the Shell. I've already seen Akira before, and I wasn't really a huge fan of it, so it was like I wasn't really interested. Appleseed I had only seen in piecemeal, so I was like, I already kind of knew what the premise of it was. So Ghost in the Shell I just went into blind, and I just thought, all right, let's give this one a try. And I was just like, holy crap! So yeah, anytime whenever I've had the chance to indulge in cyberpunk, I will always do it. It's to me a fascinating form of science fiction because of the fact that it's so close to what could potentially be our own reality. And I know a lot of people like to make the claim that sci-fi, cyberpunk is so dystopian and can be horrible. It's like, yeah, it could be, but it doesn't have to be. There's this general sense of melancholy or somberness when it comes to cyberpunk. It feels like we're losing humanity in general. But I find that fascinating because it makes us want to hold on to the bits of humanity that we still have left even more. It makes, in a way, when you steadily lose more of your humanity, it makes you want to hold on to the bits you have left a lot harder. You don't really know the true value of your own humanity until you're on the brink of losing it. See, pretty genre I like is mostly the sound effects I have in my possession. I mean, there's more to sci-fi than just the sound effects, but it does help make a lot of it. Then again, sound design in general is really great, and in fairness, the majority of those are technological use in other media. I mean, yeah, they've been used all over the place for years. To the point where sometimes when you've heard it so many times, you can recognize it almost instantly in other sources and just kind of pick them out one by one. Alright, so we're at 435 now. Still no shiny. I swear, if they're actually gonna make us get 512 eggs and get it on the dot, that would be ridiculous. I'm gonna start getting more eggs just so we can at least be ready in case we run out. You think we'll crack 500 more? You think we'll crack the 500 mark when it comes to hatching eggs? Excuse me. Let's see. But yeah, overall, I do like the sci-fi genre. When it comes to genres of things that I like, I love sci-fi. I also love historical epic films kind of deal. So stuff like Ben-Hur, Lawrence of Arabia. Um, I really love just giant grand scale films. Gladiator is really good. I really like that one despite its historical inaccuracies. I also really like Troy, and I know a lot of people don't like Troy, but I've always found it to be a fascinating spin on the Trojan War. Say take a look at they've been produced some events they made over the years, but they've been bought out because of the printing was running out. So I noticed you're emphasizing the sound effects a lot, Kursan. I take it you're a big audiophile when it comes to that sort of stuff. Yes, yes, Ortis, it is indeed a lot of Dratini. Well, we got it. Let's see. We got any luck? Nope, no dice. I'll admit, I'm glad of the fact that all these Dratini eggs are really easy to go and like they all hatch at the exact same time. Makes it so much of an easier process to deal with. That one missed a counter. I mean, let's be honest. We grew up with watching cartoons and anime and all those types of sound effects, and I'm sure to. Oh yeah, no. Like I said, I definitely noticed them. It's just not something I solely fix on. I try to take in the whole package. Don't get me wrong. Sound design is important. I bless this next egg to be shiny. Hopefully. Don't worry about it, Ash. We'll get it. We'll get it eventually. And there are recognizable ones that I am familiar with. I mean, I don't know what you're familiar with. Yeah, we are familiar. There we go. All right, I think that's 339 or 439. Let's see. Is there one more just to make sure we're on the right track? Yeah, we have one more. Yeah, one more egg, and then we go to the next batch. All right, 440 eggs. All right, let's go ahead and put this stash away. Oh, wait, I need to move this egg. I'm going to move this one over here. No dice on the egg I blessed. Nope. It's perfectly fine, Ash. I know you tried your best. Oh, speaking of which, I didn't even show you the other shiny that I got a hold of. Where is she right now? No, not there. Nope. No. No. You know what? Screw it. I'll just go look for it. Oh, no, that's not her. Where is Honeypot? Wait. Ah, here she is. Take a look. I literally got this last night, just yucking around in the Isle of Armor. And it's a shiny female Vespiquen, or shiny Vespiquen. And from what I understand, this is one of the rarest shinies you could technically get. Because Combi has a weird gender ratio where 90% of the Combi are male, which are essentially bees, and then the 10% are female. So getting a shiny one is already hard enough as it is. And now you add on to one where you have a 10% on top of that. I think the odds. Let me try to recall this real quick. Oh, 1 second. But yeah, sorry, let me actually look this up, because someone had looked it up, the odds for me. So apparently the full odds of getting this thing is something around 1 in 19,000 in terms of how. Let's see, I don't think anyone can hear it through a stream. You can hear it for yourself. I said 6 example what I'm familiar with. The quality sounds pretty good. I had to track them down, but it was time consuming for me, but it was worth it. Oh, okay. Don't worry, Croissant. I'm going to take a look through them after stream. But yeah, something around odds of like one in, because I think it was like 1 in 19,000 or something like that for a female Combi, and to get a shiny one on top of that is just ridiculous. It's probably the second rarest shiny that I've ever gotten. The most rare one apparently that I ever picked up was wow, we are in a stadium now. A stadium? Mind clarifying that one, Ornis? Good effect too. Okay, I'm a little confused. Your vocals are dull. Oh, shoot. I'm not sure what to do to fix that. Hold on. It's like we're at a Dratini derby. I apologize for that. All right, let's see. Doesn't look like my mixer wants to. Doesn't look like my mixer wants to work right now. Let me see if I can fix that. I don't know. It's sometimes my microphone just does not want to be cooperative for whatever reason. All right. Hopefully it will resolve itself. So I'm trying to look through and see what is causing this issue. Oh, well, that is rather unexpected. Yeah, I'm sorry about this. I'm trying to figure out what I need to do in order to fix this problem. Where is this coming from? I don't know why my audio just decides to double up for no reason. Yeah, the best I can do is just kind of wait to see what's causing this thing, because I have no idea. There shouldn't be any other audio of myself coming through, and I don't know why it does this from time to time. I really don't know. All right, that's 441. I'm gonna start saying these Dratini in my sleep. Alright, this should be 443. Nope, nothing. Guys, let me know if the audio is still no longer doubled up. I don't understand. I really am sorry. I don't know why this keeps happening. Before I keep going, as we said, we need to test out my voice coming through your stream. It'll be interesting to see if it works. It's not that difficult to set up, Croissant. It really isn't. All I need to do is just set up a channel in which your voice can come through Discord chat, and you can easily do it. I've literally got the setup ready to go for it right now, so it's not that difficult. Yeah, that's 445. All right. Yep, no luck there. Okay, then it just might work. Yeah, I mean, it literally would not take much effort at all. It's nothing complicated. It really just has to be a case of where I have to set up a system where I capture your output, which is it's not a problem. The process of getting a character that partially has a tacky design, but is good nonetheless. What do you mean by tacky design? Are you talking just tacky in terms of what they wear? That's a majestic look I wanted to have so badly. Are you talking like an OC that you're making? No, an actual artist that's selling one. So wait, you're buying a character from an artist. And then you're gonna rework this character to be a certain fashion sense? I'm sorry, I'm a little lost in what your idea is for this. I am back. Welcome back, Ornis. By the way, let me know if my audio issues seem to resolve themselves at any point. I do apologize for this. As in adopting them. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Alright, so they got 447 eggs. Nope, nothing. 448. I'm not gonna lie, I love this new counter. It's so easy just to have a visual representation for everybody to keep track of. I have a question. Do you think for my next hunt, do you think I should do it's something you can run with pretty easily? Fair enough. I guess we could just, I guess if I were to make a green screen, we could just make it pretend like I'm actually in a stadium where it's like, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming out tonight and witness the most boring shiny hunt you've ever seen in your days. Just something ridiculous like that. Maybe I should get dressed up and have an announcer voice with one of those giant microphones that come from the ceiling like we're in a boxing ring. I was like, in this corner, weighing exactly 500 kilos, weighing at a pure muscular draconian tonnage, Dragonite! And in the other corner, the icy veil that covers you in the dead of night and will make you wish you were never born. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Frostlass! Just something ridiculous like that. Oh yeah, that's right. We need to get to the next batch. We're getting close to 500 eggs. Do we have enough for five? Yeah, we actually do have enough for 500 to get to 500. So the artist that's putting out the character on sale would mean that I can adopt them partially as Tacky clothing, but it has a majestic look, and I believe it might be able to work. Wait. Oh, whoops. I done goofed. I forgot to swap this out. There we go. At the end of the day, I will need to wait for a response from the artist and see what it will be. Sure. Out of curiosity, what can you tell me about the design of this character? Brrrr. Sorry about the typing. If y'all can hear that, I'm currently messaging another group in a Discord server that know about my sort of shiny hunting shenanigans right now, and one of them is saying the patience you have for hatching about 400 plus eggs right now is insane. And I'm like, look, I want my giant green dragon. All right, I will not be denied. One way or another, I am going to get this pink Dratini, and I will evolve it into a Dragonite. Like, come hell or high water, I am going to get this thing. If I'm going to go to the lengths of getting myself a shiny female Combi, then I will do what it takes. Hard to explain really, but it has a cyan yellow clothing, and it has the Empress kind of look. I don't know what species I would be able to identify, but it looks like it has feline. Okay, so kind of a cat Empress sort of look. Born to be wild. Yeah, no, that is... I mean, granted, the only reason I'm on a bike is just so that way it makes this a lot faster. I would find it immensely hilarious if we managed to crack 500 evenly and get that. What do you think? What do y'all think? Are we gonna crack 500? Or do you think we're gonna get under 500? We got what? 48 chances. 48 chances before we get ourselves to the 500 mark. If you were walking, it'd be 500 miles. Yeah, exactly. Alright, 455. We've attached one egg per mile. Alright. Oh, wow. All male this time. Interesting. Let's say I already have some characters that are adopted. One of them is a Dangerous Serpentine character that is serious threat to my main characters. Okay. So, I'm guessing what is more of an antagonist or rival kind of character? Personally, I'm kind of thinking we will probably crack 500, or we won't be able to get Shiny Dratini before the 500 mark. It'd be nice if we did, because I already have in mind of what I'm gonna shiny hunt next for. It's either gonna be another Masuda method hunt, or we can go for an overworld hunt. Basically, just keep encountering a Pokemon over and over and over again, for the sake of just getting a consistent encounter rate with it, and if we manage to beat it, that'll help increase our shiny odds at least a little bit. Or we could do a max raid battle. That'll give us some decent chances to catch some stuff and to potentially get ourselves a shiny that way. We'll see. I actually saw online a couple days ago when I was just browsing through Etsy that someone could actually make a life-size Dratini plush, and I was kind of like, do I go for it, or do I try to make one or order one myself, or would that be a little too much? See, a secondary antagonist. I thought I'd describe him more as he lives in the dark underwater, preferring to keep heaven. Oh, I see. Okay. Alright, next one. That's 456. No luck there. Alright, number 460. The park's board blissfully unaware of the population surge. Sorry, what, Ortis? You mean the sudden surge of Dratini everywhere? I was like, huh, the spawning season for them must be really high this year. Like, we just suddenly had a surge of, like, hundreds of Dratini now just everywhere. Where's this all coming from? You don't want to know. Hidden Sweet, waiting for the right time to launch a full-scale invasion. Oh. I guess you got a whole plot lined up for these guys. Huh, sorry about that. Yep. I'm just looking at the gallery and just like, fear me, mortals. Fear my adorable Dratini army. And then just suddenly have hundreds of Dratini fully evolved into Dragonite just everywhere. All the while, all the ones that I wanted just rampaging throughout the region, just asserting dominance everywhere. Meanwhile, the one that I actually do want is a little tiny pink one that'll evolve into a green dragon. And that will serve as my steed in which we will mount into battle. Or I guess since it's not a horse, I can't really call it a steed, but my mount. That'll do. It will serve as my mount into battle. I will ride atop the giant green dragon into glorious combat, and we will smite the enemies before them. Or in the words of Conan, we will crush our enemies, see the German before you, and hear the lamentation of the women. In fact, I can send you through Discord to see who he is. Sure, feel free to send it to me. I have no issue with that whatsoever. I need to see, now that I think about it, I need to see Conan the Barbarian at some point. I've never actually had a chance to sit down and watch it. It'd be kind of interesting to see Arnold in his physical prime, where he was just this hulking mass of a man. I mean, I already remember what he looks like with T1 and T2, but I've never actually seen him in his sort of like classic sword and sorcery physique when he was, you know, Mr. Universe or some crap like that. I don't even know what his awards were specifically, but just imagining him just this big, bulky dude in nothing but a freaking like leather fur and loincloths or some shit. Alright, what do we got next? Nope. So yeah, I watched Conan the Adventurer, though it's kind of watered down as, I don't know, I'm a bit conflicted about it. It does contain some adult stuff in there. Yeah, I've heard Conan the Adventurer. Wait, what is that? I know of Conan the Conan the Barbarian and Conan the Destroyer, but I don't know of Conan the Adventurer. Alright, what do we got next? Whoa! For a second there, I looked at the screen. I noticed like red eyes. I'm like, wait a second, what? Damn it! It almost had me as a bait and switch. I thought for a second my screen was going haywire. It's like, nope, we're gonna make you think you see a shiny, but nope, it's still not. Let's see, it's a TV show. I might not have been aware of it unless you already did. Oh crap, we ran into something. Minchino. Give me 1 second. Alright, I'm looking up your design there, Kusan. Oh! Oh, that's kind of cool. I like the... I like the kind of like greenish blue hue to it. Kind of almost kind of a greenish silver color to it. It's really nice. Or almost metallic. It's pretty slick. I like it. Alright, let's see. Hold on. Alright, let's go through... I'll go through this next batch of eggs, and then we'll probably have to call it a day. It is a TV show you might not be aware of, unless you heard it. Yeah, I've definitely never heard of Conan the Adventurer. When did it run, actually? Nope, nothing. 466. (1992 to 1993). Oh, okay, that explains why I wouldn't have been able to see it. I would have been around 1 or 2 at the time. 477. Or 467. Yeah, we'll get to 470, then I'll have to call it. People didn't make a mistake of species for a snake. I don't really blame them, but it is a serpentine that can live underwater, but it can be on land as well. Okay, so it's essentially amphibious. No luck on that one. 469. Alright, 470. Come on. Give me something to work with. Come on, Arceus. Be nice to me, please. Nope. Alright. Yeah, he's amphibious. Okay. Alright. So we'll have to... alright, we got one box. We got this box left, so we might as well just do this last batch. I don't know if we're gonna have any luck for it, but 512 or bust. We're close to that mark. I might as well just finish off this last section in the box, otherwise it's gonna feel weird if we don't end it right there. They sound robotic like there's 2 of you. Oh, sorry, Lenny. I don't know what's up with my microphone right now. I've been trying to figure that out, but I literally have no clue where to start. I might need some assistance with my audio and figuring out what the problem is. I mean, I could try to eliminate my microphone. Yeah, no, it's literally the same mic I've been using. I haven't touched it at all. I don't know what the audio issue is with regarding it. I just have no idea. I really wish I knew. Sorry, I'm just trying to finish up this last batch of eggs. I really wish I knew what the problem was. Then again, it wouldn't be one of my streams if there wasn't some technical issue with it. I'm trying to get through this last batch as quickly as possible. Because the audio seemed to be working fine earlier, but I don't know what's causing it to be a problem now, because I literally haven't done anything to it. I haven't adjusted the gain, I haven't like, added a duplicate audio source, nothing. And I don't have a version of myself running in the background, so I don't know what's causing this duplicate audio effect. I mean, if y'all have an idea of what this could potentially be, then by all means tell me a solution, because I do want to figure this out. Alright, 471. We got 4 more eggs to go. This will be more in private, and on Saturday I'll be occupied with my content having 2 big subjects. No worries, Croissant. We can take care of it then. I'll be busy on Sunday though, at least Sunday night. So anytime before then is fine. Nope. Alright, it's 473. That's what I'm talking about Friday. I'm gonna be busy on Friday night just because I'll have Magic that night, but hopefully maybe later that night I'll be able to do something. Alright, 475, come on. Nope. Nothing. Alright. I'm gonna see you on Friday. No worries, man. Take your time, and I'll see you later. Alright, so yeah, that is going to be the last batch of eggs that we do for tonight. Still got, what? What is it, 25 more eggs? Yeah, 27 more eggs. So that should get us over to 502. So I'm going to spend some time getting more eggs and then breeding those and whatnot, getting those ready. Hey, Crash, you're just catching us at the tail end of the stream. Just about to wrap everything up. We've got it to, we're at 475 eggs hatched now. And we're gonna call it a night here. So, I apologize for, I don't mean to cut it short as soon as you get in here, but it's just a matter of, I'm starting to fade a little bit, and I've also promised Lenny and Jalen we would do our usual shtick tonight, and I want to sure I don't keep them held up. And so, yeah, we got to 475 eggs. Still no Shiny Dratini yet, but I've got 27 eggs in the pipeline. I'll be able to get maybe a few dozen more and see, like, maybe I could get another 100 eggs. We'll see. But yeah, everyone, thank you very much for stopping by. Again, I apologize for the audio issues. I really wish I could figure out what the problem is, but I have absolutely no idea as to what the issue could be. Hopefully, we'll be able to figure it out soon enough, but until that time comes, it's just gonna be a thing for us for the moment. Maybe I just need to restart OBS and then it'll be fine. Anyways, hope you all had a lovely time tonight, and hope you all enjoyed the shenanigans and storytelling, whatnot, with all my misfit happenings as well as my family's happenings. Hope you all have a lovely night, stay safe, and until next time, take care. Oh, hey, Fempsy, sorry, I didn't mean to catch you off on there. But yeah, we're literally just about to wrap up for the night. We're sitting at 175 eggs. But yeah, I literally just did my entire normal send-off. Anyways, by the way, Fipsy, I hope you're doing well and staying safe amongst the hurricane mess, dude. I really hope everything is alright at your house and everything alright with your family. Anyways, folks, again, sorry for cutting this off at this time frame, but I'll have to catch y'all later. Take care.